One thing people usually notice immediately is the title on my LinkedIn profile. It says harmful AI system survivor. And I don't use that title for a shock value. It comes from experiences I went through during and after 2020 that completely changed how I think about technology, institutions, and intelligent systems. Sweden didn't really go through the same type of lockdowns as many other countries during COVID, but during that period, my mind entered a very heightened state of awareness. I started noticing how much surveillance and security infrastructure had quietly expanded around everyday life, especially through private sector systems. Things most people wouldn't notice or think twice about suddenly stood out to me. It was cameras, sensors, tracking systems, platform mediation, smart mobility systems like e-scooters, and passive data collection happening constantly in the background. The more I paid attention, the more I realized how much invisible infrastructure already surrounded modern society. And honestly, that realization became psychologically overwhelming at times. But it also pushed me into thinking much more deeply about transparency, interpretability, and intelligent systems. During that period, I became increasingly focused on questions around surveillance, algorithmic systems, institutional interpretation, and mediated environments in general. I was genuinely concerned about emergent smart city technologies and increasingly interconnected infrastructure. I had been reading material from organizations like the European Digital Rights, discussing surveillance technologies and imported infrastructure connected to China and other large-scale monitoring ecosystems. So while a lot of people were out hoarding toilet paper during COVID, I was busy reverse engineering e-scooters, looking into surveillance equipment and trying to understand how these systems interacted with urban infrastructures and data collection. Over time, I found myself caught inside systems that were extremely difficult to understand or challenge. Eventually, I ended up flagged within institutional systems connected to my workplace. And I was working in autism support, and I got flagged in the human resource system. I lost my job, and I was later escorted to a psychiatric facility during COVID restrictions. The whole experience was extremely disorienting. I was isolated in a room, restricted from leaving, and because of the pandemic protocols, receiving food from masked personnel and having very limited human interaction. At the same time, I was going through institutional assessment procedures that felt highly procedural and disconnected from my actual human context. And at the time, it generally felt as though through decisions about my life were increasingly being shaped by systems I could neither properly understand or meaningfully challenge. Whether those systems were algorithmic, bureaucratic, institutional, or procedural, the experience forced me to confront a deeper question. What happens when human beings became downstream from opaque decision structures operating at scale? That experience fundamentally changed how I think about AI and artificial intelligence, institutional systems, interpretability, and human rights in increasingly mediated environments. And even though that period had a very real psychological impact on me, it also pushed me into thinking much more deeply about intelligence itself. I started asking very simple first principle questions. What actually makes intelligence coherent? What keeps reasoning connected to context? How do systems maintain continuity across time? what should even be allowed to be shaped in a system in the first place. And one thing I realized is that a lot of current AI development focuses heavy on speed optimization, prediction, and scaling capability. These systems are incredibly powerful, but optimization alone does not automatically create understanding. Sometimes systems become highly effective while slowly losing context. Around that same time, I also became increasingly aware of how dimensional reduction techniques, things like principal component analysis and other forms of compression, fundamentally narrow how systems interpret reality. These approaches are extremely useful computationally, but they also reduce complexity in ways that flatten nuance, ambiguity, and contextual meaning. And that realization stayed with me because the world itself already felt surreal and compressed during that period. I mean, remember in 2019, so much public conversation revolved around climate narratives and figures like Greta Thunberg. Then suddenly, the entire informational environment shifted toward the pandemic. News cycles became dominated by hourly death statistics, fear, uncertainty, and rapidly changing narratives around what was initially called the Wuhan virus, before later becoming globally standardized as COVID-19. The speed of that narrative transition deeply affected how I thought about information systems, public perception, media amplification, institutional coordination, and collective psychological reality. It made me question how both humans and intelligent systems maintain coherence when reality itself becomes fragmented across competing narratives. Compressed information streams, emotional amplification, and large-scale uncertainty. A lot of modern AI works through compression, and compression makes systems faster and more scalable, but compression also removes variance. And sometimes the variance being removed is actually the context itself, because human beings don't think through one variable alone. We think through memory, relationships, timing, consequences, continuity, and emotional context. And that's really where interdimensional computation, or IDC, started emerging. Not really as another AI model that I was building, more as an architectural or a way of thinking about intelligence itself. The core idea about it is that intelligence may eventually require several dimensions of reasoning interacting together: causal reasoning, relational reasoning, ethical reasoning, and probabilistic reasoning, and temporal reasoning. Instead of reducing everything into isolated optimization targets, interdimensional time, or IDT, as I posted in the group, becomes an important part of that exploration. When I talk about time there, I'm not really talking about clock time. I'm talking about continuity. How does a system remain connected to memory, prior states, context, and reasoning trajectories across time, instead of simply reacting moment by moment without continuity? That eventually led me toward the idea of admissibility, not moderation after the fact, but asking what should be allowed to enter and propagate through a system in the first place. Because once systems operate at the infrastructure level, what enters them starts shaping governance, healthcare, finance, education, social trust, and public reality itself. And what concerns me most today is not only whether AI becomes more intelligent, it's whether increasingly powerful systems remain humanity navigable. A system can become highly optimized while also becoming disconnected from human context. Part of why I care so deeply about these questions is because I experienced firsthand what happens when opaque systems and fragmented decision structure begins to compound around a human being without meaningful transparency. That experience completely changed how I think about intelligent systems. And honestly, I think the next phase of AI may end up being less about raw acceleration and more about coherence. Technology scaled computation extremely well, but communities like this may help scale meaning, orientation, reflection, and dialogue. And I definitely don't claim to have solved intelligence, but I do think that the structure of coherence itself may become one of the defining challenges of the AI era. And that's really the question I'm exploring now. How do we build increasingly intelligent systems without losing connection to human reality along that way? So that was basically what I wanted to say. And I've got this framework, architectural framework called interdimensional computation, which is, it has its own page on LinkedIn as well. You can find it there. Do you have any questions on that?
Yeah, Simon. Hey,
Yeah.
thank you.
Hi.
And I do remember your profile, and I'm like,
Oh.
it's very, very unique. And I think what's most important about your message is problems don't come to stay, right? Problems come to pass. And if we're able to share our experiences, and if just like, you know, we all experience problems, but a lot of these problems are an opportunity for growth. So I would just encourage, you know, people like yourself to share your experiences. You don't learn a lot by everything going smoothly, right? There's not a lot of opportunity there. So again, I really appreciate kind of your profile. You kind of put yourself out there. You're being a little bit vulnerable, and it's only through our vulnerabilities that we really attract people, form connections. So I really, yeah, I do remember all the profiles. I remember your profile. I'm like, this, he's not lying. Simon's not lying. He's been through some stuff. So I appreciate the share. I hope everybody can learn from it. And again, if there's anything the group can do, again, it's just a handful of us doing anything. So anything you can add, help people with, or if you, we're trying to get in more channels, so we need help with that. But yeah, I just really appreciate it. I can tell it's heartfelt. You've been through some stuff, and I think that really will resonate with people when you've been through some stuff, and then you're sharing your experiences of how you got through it. So, man, I just commend you, man. I appreciate you. So,
Thank you very much.
For sure, I would kind of back up Ryan's sentiments there 100%. You know, your profile definitely stood out to me because I was like, what the heck is this? You don't commonly see that, right, in the description or job title. So kudos for you on exactly, you know, what Ryan said, coming up here and explaining your story and your situation, because, you know, authenticity is always the realest thing in any single room, and you can never buy it, you can never duplicate it, and you can never clone it to be something else that it isn't, right? So continue being yourself, continue being authentic, and I think that you're going to go a long way with what you're trying to accomplish. Hey.